In this project, we're going to create a user form that has both combo boxes and text boxes, and some buttons that will let you add parts to the database and close the user form. So to start, I've created a new blank workbook, and I'm going to change the name of sheet 1. I'm going to call this Parts Data as all one word. So double click on the Sheet tab, type Parts Data, and press Enter. Now I'm going to put some headings for the database. We'll be collecting information for a parts inventory. So the first field is part ID, then part cat, part, location, date, and quantity. And we'll have text boxes or combo boxes on the user form where we can enter this information. Next, I'm going to change this to a named table, and I'll click on one of the heading cells. And on the Home tab, I'll click Format as Table, and then click one of the styles. I'll use this one. A Format as Table window appears, and it has selected the current range, and that's correct, so I'll leave that. I'm going to check My Table has headers. Click OK, and it creates a table on the worksheet. Each of these is now a heading cell, and it has a drop down on it that I can use to sort or filter, and it's created one blank row in this table. When I've selected a cell in the table, there is a Table Tools tab, and under that, Design, and I could select a different style for the table, and I can also change what appears in the table. I could add a total row or show different columns, and here is where I can see the name of this table. The next thing I'm going to do is save this file. So I'll go to the File tab and click Save. I'm going to call this workbook Parts DB Combo 01. So I'll type that as the file name. Because I'm storing macros in this workbook, I can't just save it as a regular Excel workbook. I'm going to click the drop-down arrow and select Macro Enabled. So here's Excel Macro Enabled Workbook. I'll click that. Then you can select a folder where you want to store it and click Save. So the workbook's saved, and you should save it frequently as you work in it. Next, we're going to have some lookup lists in this workbook because on the user form we'll have combo boxes with drop-down lists. So we're going to create the list. We'll have a list of parts, so we'll have a part ID and the name of the part and which category or which part type that is. We'll have a location list, and we'll have a list of part types for this part category. So I'm going to Sheet 2. I'll double click. I'll call this Lookup Lists. Press Enter. And on here we're going to start with a part list. So you can type the lists from what you see in the user guide, or you can copy them from the appendix, or there's a little file that has all the lists, and I'm going to copy them from that. So if you look in the files that come with this course, there is a Projects Files Start folder, and in there you'll see Combo Box Lists. So just open that. Then you can select all of this information, copy. I'm going to Control C. Then I'll go back to the other workbook and click cell A1, and I'll paste. So I'll have all the lists instead of typing them. Next, we'll create named tables for each of these lists that we created. So I'll select a cell in this part list, go to the Home tab, Format as Table, and click on one of the styles. It should detect the range and make sure there's a check mark for My Table has headers, and click OK. So that's our first table. We'll do the same thing for location. Click Format as Table. My Table has headers, and OK. And the same for part cat. Format as Table. My Table has headers. Click OK. I'm going to make these columns a little narrower so the tables are closer together. And the next step will be to create named ranges that we can use in the programming. So I'm going to select all of the cells in this table, and this will be our parts lookup. To name that, I'll click up in this name box and type parts lookup, and then press the Enter key. And this whole table now, the headings and all the data, is our parts lookup. Next, we'll name the location list. And for this, I just want these cells with the locations. I don't want the heading this time. This is going to be location list. Click in the name box, type location list, and press enter. We'll do these two. Select the part categories, the part types. Click in the name box. This will be part cat list. We can't use spaces in a range name, so you won't see any spaces used here. Press enter, and now we've named these three ranges that we'll be using. Over to the right, we've got a couple more lists. We're going to use an advanced filter to get the parts. So if we're going to enter a fastener, we want a list that just has the fastener parts in it. These two cells are the criteria range for the advanced filter. This cell is the heading, and it matches exactly one of the headings in the table over here. And then below that is the actual criterion that we'll use. So the code will put in handle or fastener, depending what you've selected. And over here is the extract from the advanced filter. We've set this up with the headings, which match exactly part ID and part description, and then one sample part, which is just the first one here. So we're going to name the criteria range. So I've selected both the heading and the cell below it, and this will be CRIT part cat. So click in the name box, type, and press enter. For the extract, these two cells are the extract range. We just have the headings in that range, so this will be ext part DESC for the extract the part description. So click here, type ext part desk, press enter. So we're going to turn this into a table and then name the cells in its data range. So click on one of the cells, on the Home tab, Format as Table, and click one of the styles. Make sure that the correct cells are selected. Check for My Table Has Headers and click OK. And then we'll name just the data cells. So select these two cells, and this will be part cell list for the parts selected list. Click in the name box, part cell list, and press enter. And for this table, I'm going to change its name because I'm going to refer to it in the code. So under Table Tools, I'll click Design. I can see the table name here at the far left. I'll click in there. I'm going to name this TBL Extract and press enter. So now we'll use that table name when we run the advanced filter in the code.